Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodha Bhidiyate Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So last time we had seen the sthūlaśarīrābhimāni jīvanāmakaṃ brahmapratibimbaṃ bhavati. We had seen this idea of this reflected consciousness or consciousness manifesting through the sukshma shariram, which is the subtle body, and in turn identifying with the sthula shariram. So sukshma shariram, it manifests through, that is called pratibimbavada, and identification with the physical body is what makes a jiva. And we saw sa eva jīvaḥ prakṛtyā svasmāt īśvaraṃ bhinnatvena jānāti. This individual jiva now all considers him or herself separate from that īśvara, the Lord, because of this identification with one particular name and form. That is very natural. So everything is different from this particular name and form. This is who I am. This is what I am. So only ignorance actually hides the Lord from our eyes. Ignorance alone separates me from understanding the truth. And avidyopadhiḥ san ātmā jīva ityucyate. The text says that because of the avidya upadhi. So we saw this word upadhi. Good to understand it. You will see it if you study more text. Upadhi is that which lends its attributes, its qualities to something else in close proximity. So it, like a hibiscus flower, lends its color to a crystal that it is placed close to. So in that way, the body-mind senses is like that hibiscus flower. We also saw that lends existence, or it lends its attributes to the ātmā, and the ātmā looks colored by body-mind senses. And this happens because the text says because of the avarana shakti. Avarana is the power of concealment. Avarana is the power of Maya that gives rise to all these names and forms. Maya Shakti has two powers associated with it, twofold powers. One is this Avarana Shakti, this power of concealment, and the other power is Vikshepa Shakti, the power of projection. This is what is responsible actually for our experience in this world. The Avarana and the Vikshepa account for all the differences, the distinctions that we see in the world. And avarana, it hides, veils the truth of Ishvara from my eyes, and I see everything is different and distinct from myself. So avarana, can this avarana ever be removed? Yes, knowledge is opposed to this concealment, this power of concealment, this ignorance. Only knowledge is opposed to, and knowledge can destroy that avarana shakti and give the vision of the one. So this avarana, this power of concealment, it works on the macro level as well as the micro level. This is the commonality here. On the macro level, it veils consciousness because of all the multiplicity of the jagat we see. We cannot see the truth behind name and form clearly. That is because of avarana. And on the individual level, what does it do? It covers my mind. It covers me from seeing what I really am. On the individual level, I am not able to see myself clearly. So this avarana works on the mind level as well. Vikshepa. Vikshepa is the power of manifestation, the power of projection. So this Vikshepa Shakti projects on the macro level, it projects this world of names and forms and functions. You see variety because of the Vikshepa, the projective power of this Maya. So this subtle matter, gross matter, all of this is because of the Vikshepa Shakti of Maya. So on individual level, as we've seen, the Vikshepa Shakti operates, the power of projection operates how? All my thoughts are projection, actually. The power of projection operates on how I perceive the world. All that I experience with the world, how I perceive the world, is due to Vikshepa Shakti. Most of the time, it is erroneous perception. Why do we say that? Because of avarana, because I'm ignorant of the reality of the world, I'm ignorant of the reality of myself, then all the projections that happen are erroneous projections. I cannot see what really is. And that is why I suffer, because today I was discussing in the Gita class, actually, that it is our projection in our own mind of what the world is that we deal with. So the whole world is not actually external to ourselves. It is here. It is in my mind that I deal with the world. And this is where, all the problems come, because I am suffering, my pain, everything I go through in life is because of what I imagine the world to be. It may not really, in fact, be what the world really is. And this is where Vedanta helps one to get this objectivity, to see a little clearer in life as well. So, māyopādhiḥ san īśvara iti ucyate. The text says that this īśvara is also the same as the jiva, but with maya upadhi. Our upadhi is avidya upadhi. Īśvara has maya upadhi. This maya shakti, it colors Īśvara. You cannot recognize Īśvara because this maya colors Īśvara consciousness. This upadhi makes Īśvara look like this whole jagat. This whole, all the jagat of multiplicity, names and forms look so real, actually. We all deal with this reality day-to-day basis. But the Shastra says, examine your idea of reality more, because behind all of this, there is a magician, actually. A magician who wields this magic, magician who is in control of this magic. It is a projective, magical, I won't even use that word illusion. It is an appearance on the one. So this whole jagat is, does have a degree of reality. We cannot deny it. Because we deal with this jagat, it has a degree of reality, but it is not absolutely real. And that is where Maya Shakti is brought in by our scriptures. Mother of the universe is Maya. She is everything in potential form, the seed potential form for the entire universe we call Maya. But What is the definition of Maya given in our scriptures? Maya is as though reality. Maya is neither totally existent nor totally non-existent. Maya has an in-between reality. Maya has an as though in existence, and that is called Sat Asatbhyam Anirvachaniya. Sat Asatbhyam Anirvachaniya means that Maya is not absolutely real. We cannot say she's absolutely real, because what is the definition of absolute reality? That which exists in all three periods of time is defined. Sat is absolute reality, and it is non-negatable. Absolute reality is not negatable. Does Maya have this existence in all three periods of time? Well, we can see the Jagat. Any object you take in this Jagat, it is born. When it is born in time, it exists for a length of time, and it also disappears in time. Doesn't that reveal that it cannot exist in all the three time periods? Our experience of life itself shows that none of this world exists constantly or continuously. Everything is changing always. So Maya cannot be absolutely real. It cannot be absolutely real because the definition of reality that the scriptures give also is that non-negatability of this truth. Can Maya be negated? Yes. Because if you take anything in the world, any object, it breaks down to parts and further parts and further parts. You can negate things. They are not absolutely real, not absolutely true. So Maya is a negatable reality. And so that is why the rishis very beautifully put Maya into a in-between category. They say that this Maya is not absolutely real, but it is not absolutely unreal. I have to deal with this reality on a day-to-day basis. It is not absolutely real, but it is not absolutely unreal. It has an in-between reality that is called Anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya Mithya. It is a reality word revealing the understanding of an object in this universe. So Maya is all the unmanifest and manifest forms of the universe in potential form there with Maya. And Maya is considered the matter of the universe. The matter in the universe is Maya. And she, that we say she, it's given a gender here because the he is consciousness, she. So mother and father of the universe, both together, the Maya Shakti and the Brahman together, mother and father of this universe. But the creation is because of the projective power of this Maya. Because of the Vikshepa Shakti, she projects this universe on the canvas of Brahman. That's a nice way to look at it. It is on the canvas of Brahman that this appearance of this Jagat happens. But the reality is, again, Mayam tu prakṛtyam vidyāt, that this Maya is the material cause for this creation, but Mayinam tu maheshwaram. The wielder of this Maya is only Lord Shiva, Maheshvaraha. He is the one who has Maya Shakti in his hands. He is the one who controls this power. It is not independent of īśvara, not independent of the Lord. So this is where the texts say that we create the fundamental error with ourselves on the individual level. I take, because of the Vikshepa and the Avarana, these two Shaktis, the power of concealment and the power of projection, I project myself as an individual being. Very interesting that individuality is a projection on the screen of Brahman. It is not, again, real as I think it to be. So this individual, Ahankara, plays different roles in life. I go through my life putting on different hats. One moment I have the father hat, the mother hat. I have different hats as I go through life and I play all these roles. And evaṃ upādhibhedāt jīvesvarabhedadṛṣṭiḥ yāvatparyantaṃ tisthati. As long as I take myself to be this individual self, as long as I identify with this individuality and it is taken as real and all the differences are seen, I will remain stuck in this samsara. This samsara is, we know that samsara, we've seen what is samsara. We hear it a lot. It is not a perfume only. Samsara means something else in spiritual life. Samsara is this constant life of becoming, becoming, becoming. I need to become something else. I am not okay as I am right now. I have to become something else. And when I identify with this limited self that I think I am, there is a constant pressure to become, 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 become. And that is where I get into, again, all the problems of samsara, all the sorrow that is associated with samsara. And it is the Shastra Upanishad actually gives a very nice, a different analogy. We have not used this, but the Upanishad itself says it is like the one sun is reflected in different pots of water. So if different pots of water are placed there, then the sun it shines on all the pots equally, but the reflections can vary in quality. They can vary in quality because some pots may have muddy water, some pots may be large pots and they may have very pure water, some pots may have very little water. Depending on the quality of the water, the reflection of the sun will differ. If you take yourself to be that reflection, what will happen? You will limit yourself to that pot. You will limit yourself to one among many. You will take yourself to be one among many. And depending on the quality of water the pot contains, if it's muddy water, you will say, I am such dirty water. I am this reflection is so dirty, it's muddy. Look at this reflection. The reflection appears muddy. And you'll think yourself to be dull. All of this. If the water is, again, disturbed, it's shaky, then what does the reflection say? Oh, I am so disturbed. I'm always shaking around. It's so restless. I cannot manage myself. So this is, again, the disturbance of the water makes the reflection look like it is shaking, looks like it is moving. The true nature, what is the true nature? The reflection has false feelings about itself because the reflection is nothing but the sun. The original is what is there, actually. It is only the original there. The reflection takes itself, it identifies the water is like the sukshma shariram, the limitations of the mind is like the water. So it takes on the qualities, the reflection of the mind that is associated with it. If it is a dull mind, then I take myself to be dull. What is the reality? In fact, the reality is lost sight of. We cannot see the reality. The reality is that I am that sun. I'm none of the reflections. In fact, that sun, that shining, that one sun reflects in all the pots, making the pots look, reflections look different. That one sun is aham brahmasmi. That is the realized person's vision, the recognition of the one sun. So we have to understand this is pratibimbavada that the text is talking about. The examples will always have some limitations because between the image and the reflection, there is a separation. There is two. Here in this idea, there is no two because it is manifesting in you itself in the sukshma sharira. It is like also we take our very good example of the waves and the ocean. Like on the ocean, we see different forms of waves, breakers, all of this appearing on the ocean, small waves, big waves. When they rise on the ocean, it's like birth. The rising of the wave on the ocean is like birth of a human being. And that wave exists for some time. The wave enjoys, the wave is carried along to the shore by a natural order. In the same way, we are all carried along to the shore, which is our leaving this physical body. We are all going to that shore, and we are carried along by the natural order of Ishvara. Sometimes we come into contact with other waves, and then we go apart. The life brings certain waves into our proximity, then it removes those waves from us. We are still all individual waves heading for the shore. And that breaking on the shore is what is like the death of an individual, is like the death of a jiva. But is there really any death? The wave is so worried. It is going to break on the shore. I'm going to go. I'm not going to live more. I'm immortal. I'm going to die. The wave is already worrying when it spots the shore. The worry already starts in the mind. But the reality is what? When the wave breaks on the shore, what happens? It goes back into the water, goes back into the ocean, back into the source. It becomes one with the water, the ocean again, and only to rise again in the ocean in a different form. The wave rises in the ocean in a different form. If the water evaporates, it's like the jiva going to heaven. So water is a very good example, actually. If the water evaporates, we have evaporation. It is like the jiva going to heaven. If the water rains down again, it is reincarnation. You come back as a wave again, you rain down again. And the depth of the ocean, what is that? The uniqueness of the depth of the ocean. Are there any waves in the depth of the ocean? The depth of the ocean remains pure, still, calm. There are no waves, no disturbance, because there's pure water in the depth. The depth is that consciousness, that ātmā, the depth of yourself. That's why we say, go within and discover that depth of yourself. So the waves have a use. You have a use for the waves. They have a name and a form, and you can use the surfers can surf on waves. They cannot surf in the depth of the ocean. Waves have a purpose. They have a use, but the reality is again the water alone. So all names and forms, the Upanishads say, are projections. All names and forms don't have separate, independent existence without that one truth. It is only consciousness, like the water, that lends existence to all the forms of water. It is only the sun, in that example, that lends existence to all the reflections that you see in this universe. You can use umpteen examples. Of course, the whole universe is words and meanings, names and forms alone. So this is what is called this identification of Maya. Maya Upadhi with Ishvara makes this world appear so. The subjective projection that we have is Jiva Shrishti, this individual projection that we have. So I am also contributing to Ishvara Shrishti through my own projections, using my free will to act in this world. And I use my free will in what directions, according to my likes and dislikes. Each individual is unique in that way. We say that unique, everybody is unique, definitely. Each one has their own likes and dislikes. Some like to do something, some like to do other things, some run away from doing something, others go towards doing that. There is not one thing in this world that makes everybody happy. There is not one thing in the world that makes everybody sad, because it is our projection on the objects and people and situations that create the reality for us. So the text says now that this is the avarana shakti and the vikshepa shakti we've seen operate on both levels. They operate on the macro level, and they also operate on the micro level. And on the micro level, My whole life is because of, my whole living, my whole life, all the experiences I go through are because of these two Shaktis. And these two Shaktis are the cause for my samsara. And how long will the samsara last? Yavatparyantaṃ tisthati. This samsara will last. This separation will continue to be there. This separation will continue to be there. Tavat paryantam janma maranadi rupa samsara nivartate. That samsara will continue as long as this cycle, I'm stuck in the cycle of birth, death, and reincarnation. That is what the texts say. If I'm stuck in that cycle of birth, death, reincarnation, I will have to keep going, coming back, going, lasting for some time, coming back. This is the reality of samsara. This is what creates all issues for us. This is where we have to find a solution to it. And what are the solution? What is the only solution to this escape from the samsara? It is recognizing yourself to be free from samsara. All along you are free from samsara. What is this samsara? Let us see. All the problems of family, of society, of even feeling isolated, being alone, alienated, all of this is because of this samsara. All the shocks of life, all the challenges of life, all the comings and partings that we have in our life is because of samsara. The opposites we have to endure in life, all the opposites, pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, even on the physical level, heat, now extreme heat, cold, all of this is part of this samsaric lifestyle. Praise, blame, all of this opposites, everyone has to go through the plays of opposites in this vyavaharika jagat. So samsara will not go, the Shastra says, until you wake up to the reality of this world. You have to see that this world cannot create this sorrow for you. It has no capacity to create unhappiness or sorrow for you. It is your view of this world and of situations that alone does it. Samsara is your life view, actually. Samsara is what you deal with in your mind. It is not what you deal with outside. So one has to go, all these experiences are for what? They are for this vyavaharika jiva, this individual self. Who are you? Who is this self that you think you are? The one that you identify with. This self is nothing but two characters, actually. Everything you do in life can be put under two roles that you play. What are these two roles? One is karta. One is the doer. The karta is the doer. The one who takes action in life is karta. The one who does is karta. And who does the karta do for? That is the other role you play in life. The enjoyer or experiencer, bhokta. So the karta in life keeps acting for the bhokta. The mother karta, the mother does for the mother bhokta. You may think you're doing for your children, but you're doing it for, again, your own joy, bhokta, your own satisfaction. You do it for that. So the employee karta, the person who works, employee as an employee, is doing it for the employee bhokta, the one who experiences the phalam of the job, the salary, all the perks, everything. Bhokta means experiencer. It doesn't necessarily have to be enjoyer, but sometimes it is translated as enjoyer. Sometimes we don't enjoy that experience. So I don't like to take bhokta as enjoyer. It is experiencer, the karta. So these are the two roles everybody standard we have. Every human being has two roles, the doer and the experiencer, doer and experiencer. And everything I do is, again, for the joy of the experience. I do everything for that joy. I meet various people. I go to various places. I travel a lot. I spend my life, in all activities, talking, transacting, working, running. I spend so many activities are there. I spend my life, one moment I'm in happiness. I feel that happiness cannot leave me. Next moment, suddenly I feel myself low mood. The state of mind has already changed. I experience all types of emotions because, again, this is the samsaric life that everybody is going through. While I am in this physical body, the Shastra says, I will have to experience this. The mind has to go through these states. We cannot avoid. Because of the gunas active, because of the qualities, sattva, rajas, tamas, which are also in the universe, also influencing the way I think, because of that activity, then my mind fluctuates between 1 minute contented, 1 minute very active, 1 minute very dull. Things like this, we all have to relative degrees we have to go through. And this is according to our karma. The karma, because of the karma alone, I go through these states of mind, the states of experience. In that way, I exhaust. If I have to exhaust papa karma, I go through very, very experiences of unpleasantness, experiences of sadness, sorrow. That means any kind of sorrow, sadness in the mind is expenditure of your papa karma. Any kind of pleasure, joy you experience is expenditure of your punya karma. But this is how we live our lives. This is how we function in the world. But this individual makes mistakes at 2 levels, actually. So what is the mistake that we make? As a doer, I make a mistake of taking myself to be the one with guilt. Guilt is based on this sense of doership. I feel guilty. Why? Because I feel I should have done this. I did not do it. So my own omissions and commissions towards other make me feel guilty in life. Guilt and hurt also constitute samsara. This doer feels guilt because I should have done this. I did not do this. I shouldn't have done this. I did this. This is my life, guilty. This karta, this guilty karta, carrying the guilt with him or her, runs towards what it like. I'm going to say it because it isn't it. It is a false entity, not you. It runs towards what it likes and wants. It runs away from what it doesn't like and what it does not want in its life. It avoids what it doesn't like and what it doesn't want, and it gets rid of what it doesn't want, but already has. This again is the samsaric karta, the samsaric jiva. So the guilty, the one with guilt, lives a life like this, always doing action, to running towards something, running away from something, avoiding something, getting rid of something. Every action, you all have a look at the life. All actions can be clubbed under these 4 headings. Running towards, which means gaining something away from you in time and space. Running away, getting away from something that you don't want in your life. Avoiding something which you think, which yet has not come to you, but you want to avoid it, like coronavirus. I don't want coronavirus. I want to avoid it. Getting rid of something you already have. You already have some kind of illness, you want to get rid of it, or you have some situation in your life, you don't like it, you want to get rid of it. You have a person in your life, you cannot stand them, you want to get rid of it. So there is always this 4 actions that every karta does. And what is the bhokta? What's the mistake we make? The bhokta makes the mistake of hurt, feeling hurt and being the victim in life. These are the 2 things that are samsara, guilt and hurt. And these are the 2 roles we all play, actually, the doer and the experiencer. So the bhokta feels hurt. Why does the bhokta feel hurt? Because Others should have done this for me. They did not do it. Others' omissions and commissions leave me hurt. So whereas guilt was my own omissions and commissions towards others, guilt and regret, hurt is nothing but others' omissions and commissions towards me. This person is in my life. They should have done this for me. They did not do it. Hurt. This person did this to me. They shouldn't have done it. Hurt. So other person, they shouldn't have done it. They did it. Hurt. They should have done it. They didn't do it. Hurt. That is what is called omission and commission, actually. And then I carry the burden of hurt with me throughout my life. We all have burdens of hurt. Every human experience is hurt and guilt. Even a jnani will have hurt and guilt. You know that. A jnani, a wise person, Shastra says, cannot get rid of these two. What is the difference? These two are already in the mind, because to have got to jnanam, you must have had life experience, and hurt and guilt are stored in the mind. So one cannot eradicate hurt and guilt just like that. When somebody says, get rid of hurt, don't be hurt, it is wrong advice. How can you avoid being hurt? Everybody gets hurt. Hurt is not based on your free will. You don't choose to get hurt. You don't choose to feel guilty, right? These are things that are in a human experience. So we cannot advise people, don't feel guilty, don't feel hurt. It is not proper advice, because it is not possible. It puts pressure on a human being to be a way that they cannot be. And they need not be, because it is a natural human experience. So then what is the difference between a wise person who also has hurt and guilt and the otherwise who have hurt and guilt? The otherwise, the ignorant people will allow hurt and guilt to rule their lives. They will live with this hurt and guilt, and the hurt and guilt will become a part of their existence. So all the experiences, even while functioning in the present, the past will be remembered, because hurt and guilt again is based on past. Hurt and guilt belongs to past experiences, and they color our present moment. I'm not able to deal with people in the present because of my memory of the past. This person has hurt me in the past, and in the present also, the vision of that person is colored by the hurt. This is where a wise person will differ. That wise person, a wise person who understands the truth, will not look at hurt and guilt in that way. Will see that this is objective. Yes, guilt is there, hurt is there, but I am untouched by it. I am untouched by it, meaning the movie screen, he knows, he's the canvas. He knows he's the canvas for the appearance of that jiva who is just an appearance. The individual self is just a role that is being played on the movie screen, on the canvas. It is not. Hurt and guilt belong to that character on the movie screen. Hurt and guilt cannot belong to me. Even if I play the character, can the actor take on the hurt and guilt of the beggar role he plays? He cannot. An actor may play the role of a beggar, and that beggar may have immense hurt and guilt, but when he recognizes, I am the actor, I am not the beggar, how can hurt and guilt affect that actor? It cannot. At the same time, the beggar role is the actor. So he sees the hurt and guilt of the beggar, he plays the role of hurt and guilt, but he knows it is objective, it is objectified. So this bhokta, karta, bhokta are the main issues, problems for us in life. The sense of doership, which leaves me feel, I did this, I shouldn't have done it. I didn't do this, I did it. And they should have done this, they didn't do it. They shouldn't have done this, they did it. All this that leaves my mind riddled with these two things, which prevent me from living a very healthy and normal life in the present. That is where we begin first by bringing Ishvara into our lives. When Bhagavan is there, when Ishvara is there, hurt and guilt cannot affect me, because I see everything happened in his order. Anything that has happened in my past, even other people treating me in the way I didn't wish to be treated. I never chose to be treated in that way. I assimilate in the order of Ishvara. It happened for a reason. It happened because I see that it happened according to my karma. It happened because Bhagavan wished it to happen. And it was an experience for me to learn and not commit, the mistake again. This is how an intelligent person, before Jnanam, after Jnanam, again, hurt and guilt are totally objective. But if we're in ignorance and we're living our lives, how do we manage these two in samsara? We manage by bringing in Ishvara, seeing that everything was in order. Even your actions were in order. Maybe you committed an error. It could have been an you may not have willed the result that you got. You cannot have willed the result you got. You only, if you look at regret and regret in life and guilt, it is actually a very false notion that one carries. Why? Because this guilt and regret can only come when you judge yourself from the standpoint of present. In the present, you're looking at yourself and feeling guilty. Why do you feel guilty? Because what you did in the past or didn't do, the result of that has led to unpleasant situation for you now. Then you feel guilty, right? It is only when the manifestation of the fruits of your action, your results of action manifest in the present as unpleasant, then you look back and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do it? I did that. Why did I do it? This is you're judging yourself in the present from past. So if you look very carefully, would you have committed those actions in the past if you had known that they would lead to unpleasantness in the present? You would not have. You did not have that knowledge you have now in the present. Now in the present, you have that knowledge because it is manifested as unpleasant situation for you. Then you recognize, oh my God, why did I do that? Guilt. Oh my God, why didn't I do that? Guilt. It is irrational, illogical to judge oneself with guilt because you did not have the knowledge you have now. In the past, you took the action because you thought, again, it was the correct action to take at that time. You would have never taken the action if you knew it is going to produce unpleasant for you, result for you in the present. You will never do the action. Nobody will act knowing that they will get guilt in the present. So knowing this, understanding this, you can really manage this thought of guilt. Guilt can be, again, seen. I did that action because I did not know. Ignorance acted. That's how you should speak. Ignorance acted. I did not act. Ignorance did the action. Ignorance didn't do the action. That is why I feel guilty now. So when I understand this fact, this bhokta, the guilty one, the one that feels guilty, will again forgive oneself because I did not know better. Oh Lord, Ishvara, I did not know better. So I have made this action. I have done this action. Now I cannot feel guilty for it. At the same time, guilt is a wake-up call. That feeling of regret is wake-up call. Why? Because you don't commit that mistake again. It is life telling you, any form of guilt in the present is life telling you, hey, wake up. Don't do this again because you're going to get, a result that is unpleasant for you. So it is very important to understand that this Ishvara, Ishvara Shrishti, to resolve my Shrishti, my projections in the order that is Bhagavan. That is how I manage samsara. And at the same time, I pursue this knowledge to free me for good. First of all, I have to free my mind relatively by managing these two burdens that we carry from past, hurt and guilt. Hurt can also be managed by īśvarizing others' behavior. You can say, oh Lord, they did not know what they say. They did not know what they did. Maybe, maybe they did know, but we have to, again, īśvarize it, saying, Bhagavan wanted it to happen that way. It is all Bhagavan's wish. If he had not wished for something to happen in that direction, it would not have manifested. So we understand it is all order. It is Bhagavan's order. This is the jiva samsara. This is what the text talks about. All your fears, anxieties, projection, your subjective reality is what makes you the individual. And this is where this knowledge removes the projection, like all the world appearing as a snake. In fact, there's only rope there. You see everything as snake. Jump. Where is the snake seen? It is seen in your mind only. It is not really there. It is a projection of your mind, but you are reacting to the projections which are in your own mind. When you understand that, a lot of issues can be resolved in life. A lot of problems and sorrow can be managed. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Next week, we will see what karma, how karma comes in, and a little bit more of this reason for this differences that we perceive in life. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.